This install requires the following: your new Lazy Susan doors, the two styles of Salice Lazy Susan hinges and their appropriate screws, your new doors hinge jig and a pencil, a 1/8 inch drill bit, and a Phillips screwdriver or drill bit. To begin, we will prepare the doors with hinges with your door face down on a soft surface such as foam. The first hinges we are putting in will be attached to the cabinet frame. These are the larger hinges marked PKS4. To install, you simply place the hinge snugly into the boring. You can then screw the hinges in. Note that these hinges go into the side with the wider gap, as shown in the graphic. Now you can install the other hinges on the opposite side of the door. These hinges come with the removable joining plate attached. These will be installed into the other door in a later section. Next, you can screw the hinges into the doors using a Phillips head screwdriver or bit. Be sure to use the provided screws for this part to ensure a proper fit. We're now ready to prepare the cabinet to receive your new doors. For this part, we will be using the new doors hinge jig. Start by marking the slot on the top that correlates with your overlay size, plus 1 inch. In this case, that is 1.5 inches. Moving down along the jig, you will skip the first bank of numbers and mark the one that correlates with your overlay size. In this case, that will be 1/2 inch. With your jig marked off, you can now mark those positions on your cabinet frame. Ensure that your jig is slid all the way to the top of the frame. With a pencil, mark off the appropriate holes. You will now repeat this step on the opposite side of the jig, starting with the 1.5 inch hole on the bottom. Once again, skip that first bank of holes and mark the second 1/2 inch slot. As before, snug the jig to the bottom of the frame and mark your holes. With everything marked, you can now drill the pilot holes to receive your new doors. Now we can mount the first door to our face frame. With the door and hinges lined up with our pilot holes, we will screw in all of the provided Phillips head screws. It's recommended to put one screw in each hinge first to make it easier. An extra pair of hands would also be helpful. Once the first door is completely installed, give it a test before moving on. You can now install the second door and complete your installation. Make sure you use the provided screws. With the second door's mounting holes lined up with the hinge plate, you can start installing the provided screws. With a quick test, your Lazy Susan door should now be installed and ready for any hinge adjustment. You may find that your gap is uneven, or that some part of the door is crooked. There are a couple ways to adjust this. The first point of adjustment can bring the hinge more in or out of the box opening and can be found on the back of the frame hinge. This also partially dictates how far the doors will open. On the other style hinge, you will find 2 additional adjustment screws. You can play around with these to ensure the perfect gap and spacing. Additionally, you can adjust the mounting plate by loosening this screw and turning the other. This is to express the hinge in either direction. With adjustments complete, your new Lazy Susan doors are ready for use.